Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. The holiday season's in full effect, and now through December 15th, Black Nativity by Langston Hughes will run at the Marcus Center's Wilson Theater at Vogel Hall. Here to tell us all about it is Director Antoine Reynolds. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And this is an exciting year, the fifth year
of
Black Nativity.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so let's talk about this production, which is a Black Arts MKE production.
Yeah. So, like I said, 5 years strong, and we're hoping to continue bringing arts to the community and allowing people of color to see themselves, people who look like them, on stage and doing things that a lot of times you don't have the example to do. And so I think that's one thing that's really important about not just the Black Nativity, but Black Arts as an organization, keeping us in the face of us and setting that example that we can do and strive for greater and better.
Yeah, and what's amazing is that this is at the Marcus Center again this year, as I mentioned, and so that means that this whole concept of the African American culture on stage is open for everyone to see and enjoy. So talk about why that is so important.
Again, I think it's important for the African American community to see people who look like them, but it also sets the example that we are more than just what's seen on the news, and we are more than the stereotypes that people say about us. And it also allows for other cultures to experience the things that are near and dear to us through the music, through choreography, through the costumes, through the message that we're talking about in the play.
Yes, indeed. So this year's presentation is supported by Bader Philanthropies, Greater Milwaukee Foundation, Johnson Controls Foundation, and United Performing Arts. So let's talk about the cast, because you've got a recent college graduate who actually was a former intern with the production, who's taken on a big role.
Yes, Brielle. She did the the second year of the show, which was my first year, and then she came back after she graduated and got her degree. Congratulations, Brielle. She came back and she's married this year, so we are excited.
That is huge.
She's doing an amazing job.
And that's Brielle Richmond.
Yes.
And then Joey Jackson Streeter is taking on Joseph.
Joseph, yes. Yes, first time on the stage that I know of with him. But Joey's an amazing person, an amazing voice, and he's got a great spirit and a great heart. And they look well together as a Mary and Joseph pair. So.
And you have a lot of returning cast members as well, right?
We do. We have Cynthia Cobbs, who had done 2 years with us. She took a year off last year, and she's returning as the angel. We have Tasha McCoy, who's done all 4 years with me. I came in on the second year of the production. There was a year prior, and then we came in year 2. And so Tasha's been with us since year 2 of the production. Zephaniah, I can't remember his last name. Please forgive me.
Oh, his mother. He's been here on the show.
Yes.
His mother is an author. Yes.
So Zephaniah, and this year we actually have his baby brother Zion joining the cast for the first time. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
That is awesome stuff. And so each year you guys are able to provide more than 1,200 youth from city neighborhood schools the opportunity to enjoy the joy and magic that goes along with this production.
Yes.
So why is it important to allow young people to see other young people on stage?
Well, I think it all goes back to, again, allowing them to see all of the possibilities that they can be. You know, I grew up in a very musical and talented family. I have cousins who work on Broadway. I have cousins who are Grammy nominated. I have full-time musicians, singers, teachers, all of those things. And so my example growing up was that I could be whatever I wanted to be, but not every child has that example. And so I think it's important for them to be able to see people who look like them doing things that their surroundings may not encourage them to do, and to see that you can make it in this industry. You really can do whatever you set your mind to. And we function, I like to think that we function as a visual example and a visual exemplification of that.
And I think it's safe to say you probably grew up in watching people in your family act and be involved in music, and you have a very talented family. So Makia Stampley, who actually directed Black Nativity some years back.
Yes.
You and her are cousins?
Yes, that's my first cousin.
Your first cousin.
Yes.
And when you said you guys are cousins, I'm like, every time I meet somebody in this family, it's just something that's there. It's just like the talent of singing, whether they play instruments or whatever. You guys, how did you grow up, being exposed to the arts?
Like I said, my grandmother, she played piano, and so she made all of her children play at least a year of piano. And so my mother is the baby of the group. Malkia's mother is my Aunt Carolyn. Hey, Aunt Carolyn. She plays piano and sings. Her twin sister sings. They have a slew of children, and they all either sing or play an instrument, or some cases we do both.
Or act,
or act.
It's pretty amazing. It really is. And so you not only are directing this production, you also do the musical arrangements, which falls in line with everything I just said. So talk about the musical arrangements and how you approach them.
Well, when Malkia first called me a couple years ago, and she was like, "Hey, I want to do the Black Nativity, and I want you to music direct." I was like, "Great!" And then the Seville Smith shooting happened, and we decided to take a completely different approach to the production as a whole. It's been performed a million times across the world. It's Langston Hughes wrote the play in 1961, so I mean, you're looking at that long a time of the show running. But Malkia decided to take the story, the Nativity story, and place it in Milwaukee and place it in the midst of the turmoil that was taking place in the Sherman Park area. And so my task as musical director at the time was to tell that same story through music and take the crowd on an emotional journey and weave it through the different styles of music that we can relate to in the urban community. So there are R&B songs, there are ballads, there are hip hop tracks, there's some rock, there's some good old fashioned gospel. And it's a good time. We have a good time.
That is some good stuff. And you also have a specialized person doing choreography.
Chris Gilbert, my dude. That is my dude.
Yeah, such a talented lineup of people putting this together. So talk about the choreography and what moves you. So
Chris, he heard the music and he called me one day and he was like, "Dude, this is like," and it was refreshing for me because Chris was like, I had never heard this production, the music in this production, arranged that way, which was a compliment to me, and I appreciate it. But it inspired him, and so I mean, he's taken the music and embodied it in the choreography, and so the movements are they're African influences, they're hip hop influences, they're country western influences, they're church influences, and so he's taken the music, he's taken what I felt in my heart when composing this music and put it into movements that everyone can see visually.
Wow. And ironically, Malkia was here on the show when she had decided to kind of change the way Black Nativity was approached a couple of years ago. So with that said, the production always finds a way to address social issues, right? So what are the social issues we may be looking at this time around?
This year, we wanted to just deal with the disparity of youth dying in the community. Not at the particular hand of any one thing, but just we've had an alarming rate of young people dying, specifically car crashes and things like that in the city of Milwaukee. And so we wanted to touch on how the young people feel about that, how the older people feel about that, and the differences in those 2 points of view. Yeah,
I think that's amazing. I'm just still trying to figure out how you do all the musical arrangements and direct. So you're just a busy man, right?
I am very busy.
This pocket of time that you put the production on is just a little piece of what it takes to be ready to perform, right?
Yeah. We start talking about the production in like June or July.
Wow.
So it's kind of weird, like it's 80 degrees outside and we're like, so Christmas time. It's like, 4th of July.
That's the way it goes. So this year actually marks a couple of important milestones. I mentioned earlier this is the 5th year for Black Nativity by Langston Hughes at the Marcus Center. And the Marcus Center is actually celebrating its 50th anniversary. So like I said, that's pretty major in itself. Talk about the 5th year and if, in fact, that stood out to make you want to do something different or just the way you approach it.
It's significant. I mean, we you know, to have something last this long in the Black community is powerful. It speaks to us being on track to stand the test of time. And my hope, and everyone at Black Arts, the hope is that we can continue this for year after year and make this a classic like your Christmas carols and like your other productions that are mounted every year. And I think that's important to continue to show this generation and future generations that you can truly do whatever you set your mind to.
Absolutely. So talk about the importance of supporting this production because it can't become a tradition
if we
unless
don't come
people
and support
come out and see it.
So it's very important for people to come out because we can't set an example if there's no one to set the example for. So we encourage everyone to come out, support the show. You can get tickets at the Marcus Center box office or at Ticketmaster.com.
And you also encourage those congregations to, you know, come as a group.
Yes,
and
so
they can get discounts that way as well.
Yes, so we do have a church discount, a church group discount for tickets for groups of 10 or more. Tickets, I believe, are $23. And so I know we have one congregation. I think they booked 100 seats for one show.
Wow, that's what it's all about. It really is. So anything special you want people to be looking out for when they come to see Black Nativity this time around? I don't want to give anything away. That's what I'm gathering. Okay.
Just come and see the show.
Okay.
Come and enjoy the experience.
Well, it is always something that people walk away talking about and looking forward to seeing again the following year. So it's on a roll, and just keep doing the great work that you're doing. I'll go over the details again. Black Nativity runs through December 15th. Those tickets can be purchased in person at the Marcus Center box office. You can call the ticket office at 414-273-7206 or visit marcuscenter.org. There's also, as I mentioned, special pricing for groups of 10 or more and church groups as well. Antoine, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
It has been fun talking to you.
It's been a pleasure.
All the best to you.
you.
Antoine Reynolds is the director of the holiday musical Black Nativity by Langston Hughes. Again, it's showing at the Marcus Center's Wilson Theater at Vogel Hall now through December 15th. Again, call 273-7206 or visit marcuscenter.org for more information. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, I thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues Milwaukee. Have a great day and happy holidays.